This was to become known as the antenna farm. The actual switchover from the antenna on the Everglades to the new tower in Hallandale was made by Colonel Wolfson on the 6 p.m. Rennick Report on May 17, 1954. Programming was becoming a problem. The choice between the four networks was the stumbling block. Since all four were competing for audience availability in prime time, which program should one station carry, and which should they refuse? There was only one choice and one time slot. It was like playing network roulette. Competition was waiting in the wings. The choices would not last too much longer. Experimentally, we tried our own musical variety show with the singing talent of Johnny Biagio, a local boy with a Sinatra-like approach to music. He was backed up by Mickey Gentile and his orchestra. In the mid-afternoon, Glenn Gregory with sidekick Mickey O'Day hosted the Funza Poppin' Club for the kids. Lovely Iris Maxwell helped with the mailbag. Among the network originations in 1954 was Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts and the Wednesday night Pabst Blue Ribbon Boxing from Miami Beach. Channel 4 received its first Freedoms Foundation Award for the series Know Your Constitution, moderated by Don Larson from the University of Miami. Finally, in 1954, WTVJ became a basic affiliate of the CBS television network.
By the mid-50s, it was a fair guess to say that television was a major influence on children as well as adults. Where the child of the family had been dependent on family, church, community, and school for information and education, TV was becoming not only a babysitter, but a prime source of information, replacing newspapers, radio, and even the classroom. It was the greatest informational force since the book. Its potential was an awesome power to be dealt with carefully. Social and religious leaders foresaw masses of mankind making a pastime of sitting and staring rather than making and doing. Were we becoming a spoon-fed society, believing the comedians' jokes were funny just because of the canned laughter and recorded audience reactions?
Oh, well, we made a deal. See, I'm going to teach her how to play the guitar, and she's going to teach me how to ride.
Good idea. What happens if she finds out you can ride?
Probably hit him over the head with the guitar.
At 7:21, you and Mr. Boynton will sneak through an ivy-covered archway in the Snodgrass backyard. And when you get through the archway, you come to a cute little bird bath. And guess what's in the bird bath? A dirty owl.
The kids weren't buying any. The generation that cut its teeth on television, that same generation who would eventually dictate policy, wanted Westerns. Kids were king on Saturday mornings and in the early afternoon.
Where did all those Indians come from?
Who shot him in the back?
The head-em-off-at-the pass westerns would evolve into the so-called adult western for the prime-time audience. The string would run out in the 60s, but at one point in the 1950s, there were 39 different western programs on the air in 1 week. It seemed the networks discovered Miami Beach in 1955. In January alone, WTVJ originated a total of 26 hours of top-rated network programs within a 17-day period. Included were the Colgate Comedy Hour, the Today Show with Dave Garroway, and Jack Parr's Tonight Show. Later in the year, CBS confirmed a remote to be done from Sarasota featuring the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. As the details were being finalized, the latest designs were completed on the newest concept in remote originations. The largest mobile unit yet built was nearing completion. Basically, it was a 34-foot converted cargo trailer housing a complete control room with a 12-camera capacity, complete audio consoles, and introducing the famous Florida Room, an extension to accommodate executive producers and sponsor representatives. Christmas with the Circus came live from Sarasota, the winter home of the greatest show on earth, hosted by no newcomer to television, but fresh from his new motion picture career, Charlton Heston. This was one of the largest live remotes attempted by WTVJ, and the shakedown of the new remote gear came off without a hitch. The largest remote unit in the world became the talk of the industry from coast to coast. On November 20th, 1955, the general sales manager of WTVJ announced a contract had been signed with a motion picture star, Gloria DeHaven, to do a twice-weekly variety program during the winter season from our downtown studios.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi, Gloria. Let me welcome you to WTVJ.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Just wandering around getting a look at the place.
How do you like it?
I like it very much.
Well, Gloria, can you tell us a little bit about your show?
Well, let me see, Ralph. First of all, it's going to be on 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock. And we'll do a little bit of singing, a little bit of talking. Oh, some people will visit, and just a little bit of everything. First of all, I think most important, we're going to have an audience.
Well, that's
and we'd like
unusual.
people to come and see the show, and then they'll know more about what's going on. And they may be part of it, they never know.
Come right down to the studio here.
Right down to WTVJ, and we may even have them on the show.
Well, Gloria, do you consider yourself a Miami resident now?
I really do, Ralph. As a matter of fact, I've taken an apartment down here now, and I'm furnishing it myself. And going to the University of Miami, and I'm definitely a Miamian now.
Well, let's just sum up once again. The show comes from the WTVJ studio. When does it start?
It starts Tuesday, November the 22nd. That's a week from this Tuesday. That's right, yes. And please watch.
For an all too short a time, a touch of Hollywood graced the Miami scene. It was nice while it lasted. Always aware of the responsibility of being number one, Channel 4 tried an experimental concept in local programming. It was called 2 O'Clock High. It was an attempt to show the productive side of our high school students and teachers. The idea originated with the production staff. With the backing of management and the blessing of the Dade County School Board, the initial program was hosted by Jack Cobb.
As I mentioned, this is the inaugural program for 2 O'Clock High, the beginning of a series of, well, a type of show that's essentially a little bit different than most programs that perhaps you viewed in your homes, and we sincerely hope you enjoy it.
The series showed the inner workings of different high school departments, including some of the unique ideas used by instructors and executed by the students.
You know, I wonder, all's not a bed of roses, is it, in education these days? Are there any problems?
Yes, we have some problems. We have 2,600 students at Miami-Jackson, and we have room comfortably for about 2,000.
And this is Coach Babe Lepore, seated here with me now. And you're not the coach of the varsity team, are you?
No, Jack. I coach intramural. That caters to the bulk of the students at Miami-Jackson.
That's a very good way of putting it, the bulk of the students, because the varsity involves how many, would you say?
Well, that's a very small percentage of the entire student body.
That winds it up. Next week, Miami Beach. A lot of people made our show possible today. The teachers and the students of Miami Jackson. Next week, the same from Miami Beach High. Our thanks go to Del Russo for makeup. We'll see you next week for 2 o'clock high. Join us then, won't you?
Politicians at all levels soon realized that television was the answer to the problem of reaching a maximum voting audience with a minimum of effort. And in the mid-50s, the price was right. Estes Kefauver, the tall Tennessee senator, made a reputation from television exposure with his crime investigating committee and rode the popularity wave long enough to make a try for the presidential nomination.
We are perhaps being dominated by the very instrumentalities which we ourselves have created. And unless we can forge some readjustment of our organization and management of political affairs, we shall never again live unafraid and undominated by these fearful prospects.
He was opposed by Adlai Stevenson from Illinois. They both debated in Miami for CBS with Quincy Howe as moderator.
There is no, a missile is nothing but a carrier. That's right. It's like an airplane, Senator. It's like a railroad train. It delivers the goods to a target. But the goods can be an atomic warhead. It can be a conventional TNT warhead. It could be a hydrogen warhead. It could be anything.
Adlai Stevenson won the Democratic presidential nomination, with Estes Kefauver, his vice presidential running mate. Stevenson lost the national election to Dwight D. Eisenhower for the second time. Sometimes television exposure could shoot down a candidate as well as put him in office. Such was the case of State Senator Leroy Collins running against acting Governor Charlie Johns for Florida's gubernatorial election. This unfortunate meeting was on WTVJ's time-tested What's the Story, moderated by Ralph Rennick.
And I was amazed when I came into the studio tonight out on the streets to pick up a copy of tomorrow morning's Miami Herald to find that the meeting had already been held. And I just wanted to ask the acting governor something about this. Now, here's a copy of tomorrow morning's Herald. And it's an official advertisement by acting Governor Johns. And he says, proof that truth is mightier than the syrupy mouthings. Governor Johns direct talk to the people of Dade wins wide support. Now, this is in the morning's paper, not this morning. Well, Senator Collins, wherever you are, we told you what would happen. You asked for it on television last night, and you got it. And that's the sort of advertising that's been prepared and run in a local paper 2 hours before the meeting is held, and I find that I'm already convicted.
All right, Senator Collins, acting Governor John. Governor, any statement?
I do not have anything to do with any advertisement. Not to start with, I mean, I didn't know anything about any advertisement that's going to be put in the paper, because that's not Charlie Johns, and the citizens of Florida know it's not Charlie Johns.
Governor Collins later confessed that What's the Story did more for his campaign than any other incident in South Florida.
1956 opened with the annual Cerebral Palsy Telethon. This event was started in 1952 and would continue as a regular fundraising event well into the 70s.
At this time, our engineers are commuting between New York and Miami to keep abreast of the latest developments in color. We also have our engineers working in our research department building 4 color cameras here in Miami, which we hope will be completed by this fall for use in our studio and bringing our viewers in South Florida color television.
Following this announcement by Colonel Wolfson, CBS started regular color telecasts of certain programs from New York. Our 7th birthday anniversary was celebrated by transmitting the first live local color telecast in Miami. This was the year that real competition arrived on the television scene. NBC opened its Miami outlet on Channel 7.